Interesting conversations for Morning at NTV that you should be part of. Have it from me, Chris Igenye.
Thank you very much, my colleague Stephen Mbide, coming to us live there from Old Kampala, of course giving us an update on the traffic, but also highlighting some of the sanitation concerns in the community there. We do hope that KCCA, National Water, that is National Water and Sewerage Corporation, can of course be able to rein in very quickly and address the concerns as he has aired them out. Now let me stay with matters that relate to traffic and anything that can happen when a motor vehicle is of course involved in an accident or a crash or an incident for that matter with a pedestrian. Many times when you are walking on the street and as a pedestrian you are knocked, you might not understand the dynamics therein. The guy or the motorist who occasions injury upon you because of either wayward driving skills or by the sheer nature of an accident does not, or rather is not supposed to pay you, but there is a special arrangement that has been put in place by the powers that be, for example, to ensure that the injuries that you get or suffer are taken care of. That eases the burden of medical bills on your part, but also on the part of the motorist. Now, how does that happen? Of course, if you haven't learned or been privy to some of this information, you might struggle to know why. But that is exactly why motor third-party insurance is in place. There are so many multi-sectoral campaigns that have been going on across the country to ensure that safety on the road is achieved in order to lessen on the burden that Uganda faces with regard to traffic accidents on an annual basis. This morning, we are joined by Jonan Chisache, the Chief Executive Officer at the Uganda Insurers Association, who will be talking to us about the latest campaign by the Uganda Insurers Association, that of course is leading this particular cause. A very warm welcome to the program, Mr. Jonan Chisache.
Thank you very much, Chris, and good morning to our viewers.
All right. We shall be delving into the Vuga Kushua or Drive Sure campaign. The words chosen here are very telling. The word sure in normal or not slang speak within the country means rather certainty, the fact that you're sure of something. Yeah. So before we go into the Vuga Kushua campaign, the Uganda Insurers Association must be an association that is on top of matters, but the average Ugandan might have no idea exactly what you guys are. So what is UIA?
Okay, thank you, Chris. First of all, I must acknowledge and thank you for the elaborate introduction. I mean, I don't know if you've worked in the insurance space before, but you spoke with such authority on the aspect of motor third party, and I commend you for that. But I also commend NTV. I saw your journalist out there, a reporter, talking about the garbage and all and calling out KCCA. And I'm here thinking probably we need to engage those kind of reporters to then move around and identify those vehicles that probably do not have motor third party. But that is then a discussion we can have later on. But you asked about the Uganda Insurers Association. Now, the Uganda Insurers Association is just simply a member body that brings together all licensed insurers and reinsurers within the country. You may not believe it, but we were founded in about 1965. And since then we have...
Right, that's a shocker.
Yeah, since then we've worked to promote the interests of our members, which members are about 37 now, moving on to 38 very soon. These comprise of about 20 general insurers or short-term insurers. We have got 8 life insurers or long-term insurers. We have 4 micro insurers, micro insurance companies, and I need to emphasize that. But also 4 reinsurers, and since you've spoken so ably about insurance, probably later on in the discussion you will also want to know about the aspect of reinsurance. But you know, UIA as a member body and comprising those members that I've told you about, Probably if I could share some statistics with our viewers regarding some of the contribution that we make as an industry. Now, if you look at the years 2020 to 2021, we paid over 530 billion in taxes as an industry. Over 424 billion settled in claims. If you look at our total tax rate, for every 100 shillings that we make as an industry, 70 of that goes to the consolidated fund in terms of taxes. We support government institutions. If you look at the regulator, Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda, the ITC, these are government entities that we support via our members, paying over 24 billion across 2020 to 2021. These are funds ideally that would have come from government to finance these institutions. That's right. But this cost is made by our members. Our mandate really is to work and promote insurance and the development of insurance within the country. But again, how do we do that? We do that through what I would call coming up with a common strategy. And what would this common strategy do? The common strategy would encourage our members to collaborate and work together, and the motor third-party product is one of those where we collaborate to offer a social protection kind of product. We also support our members in terms of ensuring that we exchange business in terms of insurance. We may seem to be competing out there as the insurance industry, but actually we do a lot of collaboration. We influence enactment of favorable legislation for our members and for the sector. We support and represent our members and their views, again, to government and other stakeholders. But again, our desire and our vision is really to be the most respected and effective insurers association in East Africa and beyond. And I hope I've tried as much as possible to
many thanks
give it a
for
bit
that.
of perspective.
So in light of the latest intervention with regard to improving how people can be able to use roads, but most importantly, what happens after a mishap or an incident, what's the key message behind the newly launched Drive Sure campaign?
And I think in your introduction, you really nailed it. All we are trying to do is create certainty. Ensure that the road users are responsible in terms of, especially the motorists.
That's right.
Ensure that they are aligned to the expectations of the law. And I'll give you a bit of numbers. You may not believe it, but the year 2023, only 550,000 vehicles accessed or purchased motor third party. Remember, this is a mandatory cover, a requirement by the law, enacted by Parliament, assented to by the President. Only 550,000 vehicles had motor third-party insurance last year.
Out of how many in the country?
Over 2 million. I mean, you tell me, you probably have the statistics better than me at that. Are there only 550,000 vehicles on the road?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
If you look at 2020, there were about 490,000 that took up motor third-party. You can't believe it. Of these, the borders that are the most common were only about 150,000 that have taken up a motor third party. So the purpose of the campaign is to awaken the public out there, to awaken the motorists to the responsibility that they do have. And what is that responsibility? Is to drive responsibly. How do you drive responsibly? By ensuring that you have a motor third party. Because there's a reason as to why government enacted this law. That's right. There's a social protection aspect to the motor third party law. And we believe that through this campaign, Drive Sure definitely will increase the uptake of motor third-party insurance.
When you speak about the social protection aspect, that is down to the fact that if anyone is ignorant, for example, of what happens after an incident on the road, is it expected of a motorist, for example, who has occasioned injury upon a pedestrian to take time and explain to the pedestrian that, hey, sorry for what happened, but this is what is going to happen, in order to ensure that your injuries or what you have suffered is taken care of? Is that possible? Because what we see usually is a case of hit and run or a little bit of a skirmish and then off the motorist goes.
Okay, and I think the spirit of this campaign and the intention of the law is to avoid those kind of incidences where you cause an accident and then you have got then to run away from the scene of the accident. Because at the end of that day, the purpose of motor third party is to protect you as a motorist against liabilities from third parties. And what does that mean? It means that in the course of your use of this motor vehicle, motorcycle, tricycle, if in the event that you cause an accident, you then call upon your motor third party insurance to cover for the injuries, for bodily injuries and death. And I want you to be, we're a bit specific on that aspect. It's bodily injuries and death. We do not cover property damage. What do I mean by property damage? If it's for example a car that has knocked another car, a car that has knocked another person's property, the motor third party product does not cover for that, but it covers for bodily injury and death. That means that the spirit of the law was again focused on ensuring that we have that social protection aspect, that an injured pedestrian, an injured third party, who could ideally be a passenger as well in your motor vehicle, who is not your family, a family member, would then also be covered by this policy.
There is that dynamic.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Within the car.
Absolutely.
So what happens if they are your family?
Because remember, because the issue is, if you're a vehicle owner, you can't run away from an accident where you've caused an accident and has resulted into injuries to your own family. You will be responsible. You're liable for your own family. It's your responsibility. They're your dependents.
That's right.
And therefore, you'll do everything within your power to ensure that you cater for them. But when it comes to third parties on the road, there are times when you and I could be on the road, but you do not have the finances. You don't want to spend out of pocket. You may not be having finances at that period in time to be able then to meet the injuries that you've caused to the third parties. What then happens? You call upon your motor third party to then be able to compensate for those injuries to those third parties. So your family, you're liable, you're responsible, they're your dependents. I mean, whatever happens, you'll have to take care of them. So the spirit of the law was then to protect the third parties and not necessarily your immediate family.
Wow, that's interesting knowledge that is coming through. So who is supposed to have this motor third party? Because there's so many motorists on the road. I see government vehicles, I see the private owners, I also see the passenger service vehicles. Is it a case of every machine that is on the road and its owner?
So the law, now I keep referring to the law, but this is a 1989 law, the Motor Third Party Act of 1989. And I will come to that issue a little bit later on. But you asked then who is covered when it comes to motor third party. Now, the law mandates every motorist, motor vehicle owner, whether it is a private car, a commercial car, a motorcycle owner, a tricycle owner, to take up motor third party insurance. Now, unfortunately, the framers of the law did not include themselves. So the motor third party aspect excludes government.
Was that a strategic move?
Not necessarily a strategic move, but I must also tell the viewers out there that the Uganda Insurance Association, in close collaboration and led by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda, we are pushing through and campaigning for amendments to that law. It's a law of 1989. A lot has changed between 1989 and 2024. The economic times have changed. At that point, the spirit was to think within those times, and the liabilities and the limits that we then pay were then again commensurate to those times. So one of the amendments that you will see that has been proposed is to include the motor vehicles for government, because then if a government vehicle causes an injury or death, the expectation is that you would sue government through the Attorney General, which is a long process again. So again, you will see that there are quite a number of other changes we are proposing to try as much as possible to make the law relevant and speak to the times of the day, speak to the current economic times that you and I am sure are well aware of.
That is right.
Correct.
Okay. Now, this policy does, of course, look at the holder of the insurance, but I would love to, in the spirit of social protection, as a moderator, And as a media practitioner, I always tend to take the side of the taxpayer, the side of the average Ugandan. In the event, for example, that a motorist has been involved in an incident, of course for them, if they have this kind of assurance or cover, they will quickly run to it. At what point does the law allow for the pedestrian or the victim, for example, of injury in the case of an accident to come through? Or the policy allows only when such pedestrian or victim is actually able to? What I mean is, for example, my Senga from Bodily is coming to Kampala to see me, and then along the stretch, Nakawa, God forbid, there's a bit of a skirmish. And then the motorist knows that they have the cover, and if there is anything that they are required, if at all, because I'm Chris Higenyi and I might understand the things, and then I go and fight for my Senga, and then all of a sudden he or the motorist realizes that, hey, the person I knocked along the road is making a case. So for them, they are covered. What if the victim is one that is completely ignorant about the fact that they can even make a case in case they have been either knocked or injury has been occasioned upon them?
Okay, now first and foremost, this law is implemented together with the government bodies.
Okay.
Now, the enforcers of the law are the police. Our role as the insurers is just simply to bear the risk.
Bear the risk, okay.
So what happens in the case that you've ably described, the expectation is that first and foremost, you need to take note of the number plate of the vehicle. Once you take note of the number plate of the vehicle, that is in a case where the one responsible for causing that accident has taken off from the site or the scene of the accident. You then work closely with the police. What I've noticed is that the majority of people that do have motor third party and cause accidents do not necessarily run off the scene because they've been empowered, they understand, and they know what they have been able to purchase. So what would happen in an ideal situation is that the one who has caused the accident would work closely with the victim to then guide them through the process, which includes taking them to the hospital to take care of those injuries,
That's right.
notifying their insurer of an accident that has happened, notifying the police, collecting the appropriate documents to then be able to support the insurer to be able to process that claim. But even where the responsible person who has caused that accident has taken off from the scene, and you do have a number plate, you can work closely with the police. What I will tell you is that now we are a bit automated. Any motor vehicle that has motor third party is within a system and can be clarified and verified through the express penalty system or the EPS system of police.
That's right.
So even you, as the host this morning, if you do want to check on your vehicle, you simply dial *165 and then you will be able to connect and know that probably your vehicle is insured or not. So you can work closely with the police.
That's right.
Be able then to trace the owner of this vehicle. And that is why Uganda Insurers Association is there anyway. Even when you work with us as the Uganda Insurers Association, and you do have the number plate that has caused that accident, we can work closely with the police, work closely with our members, and we will trace that vehicle and then be able then to support that victim. Now, unfortunately, and I must say, unfortunately, for a vehicle that then is not covered, we have no choice. If a vehicle is on the road, causes an accident, and does not have motor third party, that liability does not sit anywhere amongst my members. It solely sits on the owner of the vehicle. So then you directly engage the owner of the vehicle, and that is why this campaign is there. We are saying, why would you then drive a car without having motor third party? With the obvious benefits that this product offers to you as a motorist.
All right. So that means, for example, that there is a price, or not price as such. Let's keep the word to the cost of this insurance cover on the part of the different motorists. A private user, commercial vehicle, heavy duty, private use, commercial motorcycle, tricycle, all these have different costs, and many times those that do not go for this particular insurance may be down to the fact that they think it's expensive. So break this down for us.
First of all, I don't want to call it a price.
Well,
because a price
speaking
makes,
like a layman,
a price makes it seem like you walk into a shop, buy something.
That's right.
It's a premium that you pay for the benefits. And why do I say that? Because you're passing on the risk to the insurer, and the insurer is being compensated by the premium that you pay to carry that risk for the period of cover. And it's very, very interesting in terms of the costing of this product. And government is one of those that has really supported us. But how do we break down these prices? For example, if you look at a private vehicle, usually the premium will be about 68,000 shillings. But the basic premium that goes to the insurer is about 22,000 shillings. Government, on top of the basic premium, will add what we call stamp duty, 35,000 shillings. And in most cases, the stamp duty is even higher than the basic premium. On top of that, government will also charge 18% VAT. So out of the 68,000, the insurer, as a basic premium, takes about 23,000 shillings. But what is the liability? What is the burden that I carry the entire year for just 23,000 shillings? What I will give you, according to the law, is a limit of liability of 1 million per person. So if there is injury or death caused by a motorist covered by motor third party, I will pay 1 million shillings as an insurer. For 23,000 shillings, remember. If there are more than 10 people, for example, if it's a Kamunye, a commercial vehicle.
That's the PSVs.
If it is a private car that carries more than 4 or 5 people, the aggregate is 10 million. But remember, the premium is 23,000 shillings. If you look at the commercial vehicles, the basic premium is about 140,000 shillings. But if you add stamp duty, add VAT, you're heading into about 180, almost 200,000 shillings. So when I talk about breaking down these prices, what you've called prices, I need the public out there to understand that indeed what goes to the insurer for the liability they carry the entire year. If it's a motorcycle, for example, a motorcycle will pay about 45,000 shillings. But out of the 45,000 shillings, the basic premium is 4,000 shillings. For a liability of 1 million. Are we together? Chris,
I'm following
on this.
I'm following.
Government will take 35,000. I'm just simply a collector on behalf of government for this policy of insurance. But the liability I carry, so I need members out there, the public out there, to understand that what I retain as the insurer should be compared to the burden that I carry the entire year in the event of an accident. So while I say yes, the private car is 68,000, the commercial, the tricycle could be about 55,000, boda is about 45,000, but what I carry and I take is just...
That's a very small.
And I'm guided by the law. For your information. The Motor Vehicles Act guides me to these details.
Now, for my friends in the private sector and the informal sector who might be struggling to understand exactly why you need to be able to get onboarded for this particular thing, is for 23,000 Uganda shillings a year. If you are a wayward driver, so to speak, and you've occasioned injury or death, God forbid, to 10 people, 23,000 Uganda shillings, and all these costs have been made for you by the insurer. That's a good deal. It's a word that is really difficult to use, saying a good deal. If
it's a good deal, but you can't avoid the taxes.
You can't really avoid the taxes.
Absolutely.
All right, I think that is a good breakdown. And I know, but when it comes to the renewal of motor third-party insurance, is it convenient? And if it is renewed, does somebody still stay within the confines of the 65 that brings the basic premium to 23, or upon renewing, then you find a new set of rules, or either the law has been enacted? Does that necessitate, for example, increments? Because somebody might be like, I'm not going to renew my motor third-party insurance this year because there has been this and this and this.
Okay. So first of all, unless there are changes in the law, which then guide the computation of premium, the prices are always the same.
Always the same.
And like I mentioned to you, we are working closely with government to try and then amend the law to improve and enhance some of these benefits.
Okay.
But we've made it extremely convenient, accessible and easy to have motor third party. We are on MTN and Airtel mobile money platforms, *165#. You select then insurance services, and motor third party is just one of those services that you can then be able to access by just simply entering your number plate. As the insurance industry, led by our regulator, we've come up with an MTP payment platform. So you don't need now cash to purchase, and you don't even need to walk a long distance to be able to purchase. As long as you have a phone, and I'm sure you know how many people have phones here in this country, you can then access motor third party. So you just simply go *165, you will pay. It's connected to Uganda Revenue Authority, so the taxman will have his share and will be notified.
He never misses.
He will be notified. The police will be notified once you purchase. So it means that as you get then on the road, police already knows and is aware that you've been able to access this motor third-party product. And I need to encourage the viewers out there. Ensure that you initiate the transaction using the mobile money platform that you prefer. Do not let anyone do it for you, because then at times that's where we see the fraud, a bit of fraud where people try and take advantage, because then the prices are fixed within the platform. The prices I talked about are clearly fixed within the platform, computed already. So you don't need to then input any amount of money, but it's automatic and already connected to URA, connected to the police. So then again, you're buying a genuine product and accessing a genuine sticker.
All right, let's go to what is no doubt a very sticky area, claims procedures. When it comes to insurance, Ugandans are weighed down by perception that insurers are always trying to ensure that they evade the process of compensating, and that it's made so tedious that compensation is, or rather becomes, difficult. In case of an accident, what is the claims procedure for compensation?
Yeah, you know, and I hear you when you say the process is tedious, and it's not the first time I'm listening to this.
It could even be more costly than what you perceive.
Absolutely, but I need to remind the viewer out there that as the insurer, we have a responsibility to pay you, to compensate you, because you've taken a product. That's right. You've taken cover, you've bought a policy of insurance. You have that right. We must compensate you, and that is what we do every single day, compensating claimants. But also, as the insurer, we must be able to verify. I mean, I gave you the premium rates. For 68,000, my limit of liability is over 10 million shillings. So I must be able to verify and go through a process to then be able to compensate and pay genuine claims. The only way I can do that is by having a clear process that I follow, which process then again must not be very elaborate and tedious and make it difficult for the viewer out there then to be compensated. But for motor third party, really, it should be pretty straightforward. I mean, first and foremost, a pedestrian, a third party has been injured. First things first, really. Take the person to the hospital. Yeah,
first response.
First response. Take the person to the hospital. But then the other most important thing is report to the police station. Like I informed you earlier on, the enforcers of the law are the police.
That's right.
So we work closely with the police, and the police has been enabled and trained to support claimants, so that at the end of the day, then you have all the official communication. But also, it is important for the owner of the vehicle to notify your insurer immediately. Immediately. In case of an accident, notify your insurer. I mean, there are things to do with because you know, if it's a death claim, an injury, bodily injury claim, the processes are a bit different. Of course, a death claim might even require probably verification and even letters of administration, where of course there are challenges in terms of who to compensate.
That is right.
So some of those things then arise, but it's just simply a process to ensure that we are paying genuine claims. And I will tell you that through the motor third-party platform, one of the things we are now trying to embark on, in close again liaison with the regulator, is to automate the claims process. So if you've bought your sticker through the motor third-party platform, can you also be able then to process your claim through the same platform? that module is being worked on, and shortly we'll definitely be able to roll it out.
Okay, this one is mine. What's the difference between motor third-party insurance and motor comprehensive insurance?
Okay, you know, I kept talking about third parties, I kept talking about bodily injury, I kept talking about death.
Yeah.
Now, the owner of the vehicle who takes a motor third-party policy or product, as per the law, the extent of cover or coverage is just simply up to the liability defined within the law, which then is the bodily injury. So you're causing accidents, but yes, you're injuring a pedestrian, you're injuring a passenger. Now, that product does not cover your own vehicle.
The damage to it.
Damage to your own vehicle. Because, you know, through an accident, you could then end up damaging your own vehicle. So the motor comprehensive would cover the vehicle, your personal vehicle, the commercial vehicle, in case of an accidental damage, in case of a theft, in case of a fire. So it's just basically covering the asset.
The asset.
And not the... That is basically the difference. But a person who takes on motor comprehensive still takes on motor third party.
That is right.
Because then that is a requirement.
In other words, motor comprehensive gets you two.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Instead of having motor third party insurance and then going on to another process of securing insurance for your car.
Yeah, but then because remember you have funds accessible in terms of bodily injury, but then what happens to your vehicle? So the motor comprehensive would cover.
Time is not our best ally. As we wind this up, there is a penalty for not having valid motor third party. I know when we're driving on the road and then the police traffic officer goes around, looks for the motor third party, steadily looks and says, my man, this thing has, you know, expired. What is the penalty there, just for clarity purposes, so that our viewers can understand?
What I will tell you is that the penalty is much more than the value of the motor third party. I've seen instances where people have been penalized up to about 200,000, 100,000 for a sticker that would ideally cost about 68,000. But I also wanted to just mention one very small thing as you close, that yes, we may be limited by the law in terms of the limit of liability that we offer. But there are initiatives that we are undertaking as the insurance industry. Already we have enhanced this product. So my members have enhanced this product. I talked about a liability of 1 million, 10 million. That is as per the law. But through engagements with my members, you can then be able to access an enhanced motor third party, where the coverage is even better, and then you're also able to access cover for property damage. Because remember, at the end of the day, yes, you've injured a third party, but you could also be able to cause damage to property of a third party. Again, what happens? So again, you can be able to enhance your motor third party by accessing and having a conversation with any of my members for purposes of then buying a superior product and not simply the one that is on the platform.
Okay, interesting there, and of course very enlightening in understanding the dynamics that play out when you go for motor third-party insurance. And again, as we close, as a moderator, I would like to speak for the part of the public out there. If you have been injured and or your relative has died as a result of being knocked on the street, there are modalities that you can, of course, be able to benefit from. If the guy, the motorist in this case, has not been able to come through to you, I think there is a lot out there that should be able to help you meet the cost of treatment. Jonathan Chisache, Chief Executive Officer, Uganda Insurers Association, many thanks for the perspective. It's been a pleasure. Now, the keynote will be coming up after the break. My colleague, Priscilla Regina Naloga, will be talking about the Seeds of Gold Farm Clinic. And for everyone that follows this program on NTV, no doubt, this is one that you should not miss. The Farm Clinic Heifer International will be here to help us understand how you can be able to make money out there. Stay with us.